Sure. DDoS stands for Distributed Denial of Service. And what this is it means it's an attack against an entity, so a website or an organization's network services that is being broadcast from hundreds, thousands, millions of devices. And the reason for this is that these malicious bad actors want to bring this particular website or service down. And what this does is it denies access, it denies service to any sort of legitimate user. Okay, so it actually turns out that educational institutions are seeing quite an uptick in attacks, and this includes the K-12 and the post-secondary arenas. And this is due to DDoS attacks in which somebody's trying to deny a service to those who are authorized to use it. So it's become a big concern in the educational world. And so people should care about DDoSing because it does take down the services of an entity. So when it takes down your website, then you may lose revenue if you are in a generation of revenue type of service. You can lose confidence and respect and trust from your clientele. You can be exposing some other data. Perhaps the DDoS attack is a red herring, right? And so they're really looking for other information that could be used against you while you're dealing with this DDoS attack. So it's a very important thing to pay attention to. So the number one thing to do is to monitor your network. Really understand that there are many monitoring tools out there, and as long as you are watching, you can see when a DDoS attack is happening. A lot of companies also use third-party vendors whose sole job it is to protect smaller organizations from these kinds of threats and attacks. But again, number one is monitoring your system. So luckily, my organization has not suffered a DDoS attack yet. That is always a threat, and will definitely, probably now that I've said it, will happen to my organization. But when we deal with it, it'll be kind of a monitoring, so we'll see that it's coming in. Then we will make sure that we take steps to eliminate the threat actors' access to the network as much as possible. Of course, with millions of requests potentially coming in, this could take a while to mitigate, but essentially we would be able to then block these threat actors from accessing our systems. So the typical impact of a DDoS attack is really to bring down all of your services. So again, this can be in the form of losing revenue if your website is down for hours or minutes or days even. You're going to have an impact when it comes to revenue, and that's kind of the first and foremost thing. If legitimate users depend on your site for some sort of streaming service, for example, and they can't get to it, they're going to be very unhappy. They're going to move away from your services and start paying somebody else for a similar type of service. So that is the lack of being able to offer your services is what I see as the biggest impact of a DDoS attack. Yes, we can definitely test for vulnerabilities for DDoS. We can take a look at how we are allowing access to our network, to our websites, and we can do some simulations to see what can bring our network down. It's more common these days, though, to outsource that to some third-party company that will then be able to point out where your biggest vulnerabilities are.